graduate?
What were your goals? What I just said was, hi, my name is Helen Keller. I'm probably the most famous deaf, blind, mute person in the whole wide world, but I wasn't born that way. When I was 2, I could hear, see, and already speak. I was born into a loving family in Alabama. When I was 2, I became very ill with a high fever. Doctors think that I had scarlet fever or meningitis. After that, I lived in a dark room with no sound or light. I threw terrible tantrums and forgot how to speak. I grunted and pulled things to let people know what I wanted. Then Annie Sullivan came into my life. Annie Sullivan was a teacher my parents hired to help me. At first, I was a difficult student. I knocked out 2 of her teeth. But let's not dwell on those hard times. For days, Annie kept spelling words into my hand using sign language. But I did not know what she was doing. Finally, one day, it clicked. Annie brought me to a water pump and put my hand under the water while spelling in sign language in hand. Water was a word that I knew before I became blind and deaf. I suddenly realized that she was telling me that the letters W-A-T-E-R meant water. She made me understand that everything has a name and that the alphabet was the key to everything I needed to know. After that, I began to learn much more quickly. Then Annie Sullivan taught me 2 more ways to understand people. One, she taught me to read lips by putting my fingers on people's mouths while they spoke and feeling vibrations in their throat with my thumb, like this. Hi, my name is Helen Keller. 2, she also taught me how to read Braille. A year later, I was able to enter school for the first time. I studied at the Perkins Institution for the Blind. I got to read so many Braille books and meet other students. When I was 20, I entered Radcliffe College. Annie came with me. Everybody had to talk to Annie in order to talk to me. It was really hard. I studied French, German, Latin, history, and English composition. I had to work harder than other people at college because there weren't a lot of Braille books. So Annie spent hours and hours spelling words into my hand in order for me to know what my schoolwork said. After graduating from Radcliffe College, I wrote and published so many books about the way I experienced the world. I became well known for 1, supporting the rights of disabled people. 2, I helped to start the American Civil Liberties Union. 3, I was the first deaf, blind person to earn a college degree. In 1964, I received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, one of the nation's highest civilian awards from the President of the United States at the time, Lyndon Johnson. I could not have become what I became without the help of a good teacher. Annie Sullivan was the teacher who changed my life. Do you know a teacher who's going to change your life? Mrs. Price.
Thank you. Power clap. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So, Helen Keller, how did she lose her sight and her sense of hearing?
She had a fever.
Right. And when she was how old did she lose those senses? 2 years old, yeah. And how was Annie Sullivan able to communicate with her?
Sign language.
And so since she couldn't see, how was she able to use the sign language?
She did it in her hand.
In her hand, good. And then Helen Keller was the first person to do what? Well, probably a lot of things, but yes.
She was the first person to get a college degree that was when she was deaf and blind.
Exactly, first deaf blind person to graduate college. Yes, Toby.
No, I'm trying to add.
Oh, that's good. Let's move to questions. Questions for Helen Keller.
One thing, how could she know the sign language was if she was blind and deaf?
Annie Sullivan kept on doing it in her hand when she felt things and water. And when she felt water in her hand, she knew that word before she became blind and deaf. And so then she touched it and she realized that she was trying to spell words into her hand so then finally she learned how to know what words said. No, that's a 4.
Okay.
That's a 4.
A couple other questions. Yes?
Donovan. Do you know how she knocked out the teacher's 2 tooths?
2 teeth.
Well, she just got frustrated and she doesn't know who she was at that time. So she just got frustrated and knocked out 2 of the teeth.
Like this? Right. What's in the bag?
Examples of something.
Okay.
That you know.
Couple other questions.
Sophia?
How did she knock them out? Like,
Well, that's what
Was it?
I just asked them. So how did she get frustrated?
what did she use to knock out?
Let's not dwell on something that's maybe not as the point. Yeah, not as the point.
How did she die? She just died of old age because she was 87.
That's very old.
Mine is 92.
All right, let me get your picture.
Smile.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Please put your hands down. 1, 2.
Smile.
Thank you. Okay, and what did you bring to share with people?
When I said she wrote publish so many books about the way I experienced the world, she actually wrote a book.
Aha, the story of my life. Why don't I get a picture of you with your book?
I actually have 2 books.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Great.
Did you have to write that book?
Yeah, it says by Helen Keller. I also brought these. It's Goodnight Moon, but it's in Braille.
Aha. You want to open it up and people can see what that looks like?
It's like if you feel like those bumps.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So when we go to our seats in a little bit, she'll walk around and you can feel what that feels like.
Just feel it.
Right, you feel it.
Is there anyone?